There's something about the smell of motor oil that brings back entire lifetimes. Not in a sentimental way exactly. It's sharper than that, more specific. The way a single scent can suddenly place you back in a moment you'd forgotten you were carrying. For me, it's the smell of my father's garage on Sunday mornings. For others, it might be the auto shop where they bought their first car, or the place where someone once showed them an unexpected kindness. Tom Martinez knew that smell better than most. It had been the backdrop of his entire adult life, 32 years of crawling under cars, his hands perpetually stained with grease that no amount of soap could fully remove. He used to joke that he was part human, part engine oil, that his heart probably had a carburetor in it somewhere. But really, Tom was the kind of person who understood that fixing cars was never just about the machines. It was about the people who depended on them. The single mothers driving to 3 jobs. The elderly men who couldn't afford to lose their independence. The teenagers who needed to get to school, to work, to the life waiting for them on the other side of a repair bill they couldn't pay. Tom saw all of it, and more often than most people knew, he did something about it. It was a Wednesday in March when Elena Vasquez pulled into Martinez Auto Repair for the first time. Tom remembers because Wednesdays were always the slowest day of the week. That strange middle ground when people were too broke from the weekend to fix their cars, but too far from payday to commit to the expense. Her Honda Civic was making a sound that Tom recognized immediately. The kind of grinding that meant the transmission was on its last legs. The kind of repair that costs more than the car is worth. Elena stepped out slowly, a little girl of maybe 6 or 7, holding tight to her hand. The child's backpack was decorated with butterflies. Elena's jacket had a name tag pinned to it. Memorial Hospital, Dietary Services. Tom wiped his hands on a rag that hadn't been clean in weeks. "Afternoon," he said. "What can I do for you?" Elena's smile was tired but genuine. "I'm hoping you can tell me it's something simple," she said, "and cheap." Tom knelt down to the little girl's level. "What's your name?" "Sophia," she said softly. "That's a beautiful name. You like butterflies?" She nodded, suddenly shy. Tom stood and looked at Elena. "Let me take a look. No charge for the diagnosis." He spent 20 minutes under that car, already knowing what he'd find, but hoping somehow he was wrong. When he came back out, Elena was sitting on the curb outside the shop, Sophia beside her, both of them sharing a granola bar. "Your transmission's failing," Tom said quietly. "I can patch it temporarily, but honestly, it's not going to last more than a few weeks. A real fix would cost about $3,000. He watched Elena's face carefully, watched the way hope drained out of it, replaced by something that looked like exhaustion mixed with calculation. "How much for the temporary fix?" "700, maybe 8. Elena looked down at her daughter, at the butterfly backpack, at the small hands still holding half a granola bar. "I get paid Friday," she said. "Could I bring it back then? I just need it to run until I can figure something else out." Tom had seen this moment 1,000 times. The moment when someone realizes they can't afford to keep their life running. When the math just doesn't work, no matter how hard you try to make it add up. He thought about his own daughter, grown now with kids of her own. He thought about all the times someone had helped him when he needed it. He thought about Sophia's butterfly backpack and Elena's tired smile. "Tell you what," he said. "Give me until tomorrow. Let me see what I can do." Tom worked on that Honda until almost midnight. He used parts from 3 different donor cars in the back lot, called in a favor from a buddy who owed him one, did things that weren't exactly by the book but would get the job done. When Elena returned the next day, Tom handed her the keys. Your transmission's rebuilt. Should be good for another 70,000 miles. Elena stared at him. I told you, I can't pay until Friday, and even then, no charge. The words hung in the air between them. I don't understand. Tom shrugged, suddenly uncomfortable with the gratitude he saw building in her eyes. Look, I had the parts lying around anyway. Couldn't use them for anything else, and I had a slow night. Consider it done. I can't accept that. That's thousands of dollars of work. Then pay it forward, Tom said. Someday, when you're in a position to help someone else, do it. That's all the payment I need. Elena's eyes were bright with tears she wouldn't let fall in front of her daughter. Thank you, she whispered. You have no idea what this means. But Tom did know. He'd been there himself once, young and broke with a family to feed. He knew exactly what it meant when someone decided you were worth helping. Elena drove away that afternoon, Sophia waving from the back window. Tom waved back and returned to the next car, the next problem, the next person who needed something fixed. He didn't think much about it after that. It was just what you did when you could. Just how you moved through the world if you wanted to leave it a little better than you found it. 12 years passed. Tom's hair went from salt and pepper to mostly white. His knees started complaining about all those years of kneeling on concrete. His back reminded him every morning that bodies, like cars, eventually wear out. The neighborhood changed around him. The old grocery store became a boutique coffee shop. The hardware store became a juice bar. Young people in expensive cars started appearing on streets where Tom had once known everyone by name. Martinez Auto Repair stayed the same. Same faded sign, same oil-stained concrete, same radio playing oldies that got older every year. But the business was struggling. The new corporate chain shops had better equipment, fancier waiting rooms, and marketing budgets Tom couldn't dream of competing with. His customer base was aging out, moving away, or finding cheaper options online. Tom had started having quiet conversations with his wife about retirement, about selling the shop, about what comes next when the thing you've done your whole life doesn't quite work anymore. It was a Tuesday in October when the letter arrived. Corporate letterhead, professional language. The building had been sold to a development company. Martinez Auto Repair had 90 days to vacate. Tom sat in his small office, surrounded by 32 years of repair orders and coffee-stained invoices, and felt something close to grief. This wasn't just a business. It was his life. Every oil change, every rebuilt engine, every late night fixing someone's car so they could get to work the next morning. All of it was here, soaked into the concrete, written in the layers of paint on the walls. He didn't know how to be anyone other than Tom Martinez, mechanic. And now, someone had decided that wasn't enough anymore. 2 weeks later, a woman in a business suit walked into the shop. Tom looked up from the brake job he was finishing, noting her expensive shoes already collecting dust from his floor. Can I help you? She walked closer, and something in her smile seemed familiar, though Tom couldn't place it. Hello, Tom, she said. It's been a long time. He squinted, wiping his hands again on that same perpetual rag. I'm sorry, do I know you? You fixed my transmission once, 12 years ago, told me to pay it forward. And then Tom saw it, the shape of her face, the way she held herself, the kindness in her eyes that he'd recognized even in her exhaustion all those years ago. Elena? She nodded, and her smile widened. Elena Vasquez, though it's Elena Vasquez Chen now. Tom shook his head in amazement. I barely recognized you. You look... Different than I did when I was working 3 jobs and driving a dying Honda? She laughed. I would hope so. What brings you back here? Elena's expression grew more serious. I'm the new regional director for the development company that bought this property. I wanted to come see the space before we finalized the renovation plans. Tom felt his heart sink. So this was it. The person who would officially close the door on everything he'd built. I see, he said quietly. Elena looked around the shop, her gaze taking in every detail. The old calendar from 2019 still hanging on the wall, the coffee maker that probably violated several health codes, the neon sign in the window that flickered more than it shone. Tell me something, Tom. When you fixed my car that day, did you know how much it would matter? Tom shrugged. I just did what I could. Anyone would have... No, Elena interrupted gently. No, they wouldn't have. And that's what I've spent the last 12 years learning. She walked over to the wall where Tom kept a few framed photos. His kids, his grandkids, the shop's grand opening back in 1991. After you fixed my car, I could keep my job, which meant Sophia could stay in her school, which meant I could take night classes at the community college, which led to a bachelor's degree, then a master's, then a job in real estate development that I never imagined someone like me could have. She turned back to face him. I paid it forward, Tom, just like you told me to. I've helped dozens of people over the years, single parents mostly, scholarships, job opportunities, connections. I remembered what it felt like to be one car repair away from losing everything. And I remembered what it felt like when someone decided I was worth saving. Tom didn't know what to say. He'd never thought about what happened after people drove away from his shop. Never imagined that one afternoon of work could ripple out into someone's entire life. I'm glad things worked out for you, he said finally. You deserved it. Elena pulled a folder from her briefcase. These are the new development plans, she said. I'd like to show you something. She spread the blueprints across his cluttered desk. Tom saw sketches of modern buildings, green spaces, retail shops, and there, right in the center, a familiar shape. We're keeping the auto shop, Elena said. Fully renovated, new equipment, updated facilities, but still Martinez Auto Repair, still yours if you want it. Tom stared at the plans, unable to process what he was seeing. I don't understand. Why would a development company? Because I'm not just the regional director. I'm also the majority stakeholder, and I get to decide what matters in the communities we build. Elena's voice was firm, certain. This shop matters. What you do here matters. The people you help matter. She pointed to a note on the blueprint. We're also setting up a community fund for people who can't afford necessary car repairs. You'll have a budget to do what you've always done, help people who need it. But now, you won't have to sacrifice your own livelihood to do it. Tom felt something hot behind his eyes. He'd spent so many years just trying to keep his head above water, trying to help when he could while still making rent. And now this woman, this person, whose car he'd fixed on a slow Wednesday 12 years ago, was telling him he could do both. I can't accept this, he said. It's too much. You told me the same thing once, Elena said softly. And I didn't listen then either. The renovation took 4 months. Tom worked alongside the construction crew, partly to save money and partly because he couldn't stand to see someone else handle his tools. Elena visited every week, usually bringing Sophia, who was 18 now, and studying mechanical engineering. You inspired her, Elena told him one afternoon while they watched Sophia change the oil on her first car. She remembered the man who fixed our car, the man who showed her that kindness was possible even from strangers. The new shop opened on a Tuesday in March. Exactly 13 years after Elena first pulled into the parking lot. The grand opening had balloons and a food truck and a small crowd of people from the neighborhood. But what Tom remembered most was the moment Elena handed him the keys to the new building. "Thank you," she said, "for showing me that one person's kindness can change everything." Tom looked around at the shop. His shop, somehow both completely new and exactly the same. At Elena, who turned one afternoon of compassion into a cascade of grace. At Sophia, whose butterfly backpack had been replaced by a toolkit, but whose smile was just as bright. "I just fixed a car," he said. "No," Elena said. "You fixed a life. Mine. And now, maybe we can fix a few more together." I think about Tom and Elena sometimes, when the world feels cold. When it seems like kindness is weakness. When the math of survival makes generosity feel impossible. When we're told that looking out for ourselves is the only rational choice. And then I remember, it's not true. One person choosing compassion over convenience. One afternoon of work given freely. One moment of seeing someone's humanity and deciding it matters more than profit. That's all it took to change the trajectory of two lives, to transform a struggling single mother into a woman who could transform entire communities, to turn a mechanic's quiet generosity into a legacy of grace. Tom still runs Martinez Auto Repair. The new version is brighter, cleaner, better equipped. But the heart of it remains the same, a place where people are seen, where needs are met, where someone decided that helping others isn't just good business, it's good humanity. Elena visits often. She's expanded her company's mission to include community support in every development they build. Medical clinics for the uninsured, job training programs, affordable housing. Every project includes a question. How does this help the person who's struggling? And Sophia is finishing her degree, planning to come work alongside Tom someday, learning not just how to fix engines, but how to fix the broken places in people's hearts by simply showing up with kindness when it's needed most. The world wants to tell us that generosity is foolish, that looking out for number one is the only way to survive, that we can't afford to help others when we're barely getting by ourselves. But Tom and Elena remind us of something deeper, something truer. We save each other, not through grand gestures or massive interventions, but through small acts of grace, through fixing a car when we don't have to, through offering a hand when no one's watching, through remembering what it felt like to be desperate and deciding no one else should feel that way if we can help it. That's what pays forward. That's what ripples out into lives we'll never see, into futures we can't imagine, into a world that becomes a little more bearable because someone chose kindness over calculation. Maybe you're Tom right now, wondering if helping others matters when you're struggling yourself, wondering if one small act of grace could possibly make a difference. Or maybe you're Elena, holding the memory of someone who helped you when you needed it most, trying to figure out how to pass that forward into the world. Either way, the answer is the same. It matters. Every single time. The small kindnesses, the quiet generosities, the moments when we choose someone else's well-being over our own convenience. They accumulate. They echo. They build the kind of world where people help each other, not because they have to, but because they remember what it felt like to be helped. The rain has started again outside my window. I can hear it tapping against the glass, steady and patient, like time measuring out grace in small, persistent drops. I think I'll sit here a little longer, just to remember, just to let the story settle, just to honor all the Toms and all the Elenas, all the people who understand that the most important repairs we make aren't to engines or transmissions. They're to hope. dignity, to the belief that we're worth saving. And maybe that's what changes everything. Not policies or programs, though those matter too, but the simple, radical decision to see another person struggle and say, I can help. I will help. You matter enough for me to try. There's something healing in that, don't you think? The fire's gone low now. The tea's gone cold. But the warmth remains. That's how kindness works. Long after the moment passes, long after the car is fixed, and the years roll by, and the story seems finished, the warmth remains. The helping remains. The mattering remains. And somewhere, in a garage that smells of motor oil and possibility, in a life that was saved by someone's grace, in a world that's a little bit better because two people remembered what really matters, the work continues, one repair at a time, one kindness at a time, one person seeing another and saying, you're worth it. And that, I think, is everything.